She was sound asleep when her body started jolting like something had taken control. No one was near her, no one touched her, but her entire frame shifted violently, almost like invisible hands were trying to drag her somewhere she didn't want to go. The footage shows her arm being pulled first, then her legs start twitching as if she's resisting something unseen. It doesn't stop there. Just minutes later, a man lying in bed suddenly gasps as his blanket is ripped from his body without warning. You can see his expression change instantly from confusion to sheer panic. Then it happens. His legs are yanked down hard, dragging him several inches across the mattress. He's wide awake, fighting against something that isn't there, and the camera doesn't lie. Another clip shows a woman sitting up in bed with her eyes closed, but her movements aren't natural. Her head twists sharply to the side, her arms bend at impossible angles, and her body sways like she's being manipulated like a puppet. It looks nothing like sleepwalking. It's far darker, more controlled, as if her body isn't hers anymore. What's even more disturbing is the moment when her body begins to levitate. Slowly, her back arches and her shoulders lift from the mattress, hovering inches in the air while her hair falls back as if gravity has reversed. You can hear the faint creak of the bed frame straining, as if something heavy is pressing down and pulling up at the same time. The camera shakes slightly, but the figure in the bed is perfectly clear. And then at exactly 3 a.m., the room goes still. No sound, no movement, just silence that feels heavier than the chaos that came before. The kind of silence that makes you realize something isn't finished yet. The silence only lasts a few seconds, but it feels endless. Then, without warning, the door to the room slams shut with such force that the frame rattles. The man behind the camera jumps, and you can hear his breathing pick up. He whispers something under his breath, but it's hard to make out. Right after that, the temperature on the digital clock beside the bed drops 5 degrees in under a minute. You can actually see the numbers changing, almost like whatever was in the room was sucking the warmth straight out of it. What happens next is even harder to explain. The woman who had been levitating suddenly drops back down onto the bed with a thud, but she doesn't wake up. Her chest rises and falls as if she's still in a deep sleep, even though her body just defied gravity. And then, faintly in the background, you can hear a voice. Not clear words, more like a distorted whisper. It doesn't come from her, and it doesn't come from the cameraman. The sound is low, guttural, and layered, almost like multiple voices speaking at once. In another part of the footage, the man who had been dragged wakes up the next morning covered in scratches across his legs. He swears he never left the bed, yet the marks are deep and red, almost like fingernail impressions. The strangest part is that the scratches don't look fresh. They look aged, like scars that appeared overnight. Experts who reviewed the video couldn't explain how they formed, and when he was examined, there was no sign of self-inflicted injury. As the recording continues, objects in the room start to move on their own. A chair shifts slightly away from the desk. The closet door creaks open just a few inches before slamming shut again with enough force to shake the camera. Then, a shadow passes across the wall, but there's no one standing in front of the light source. It's tall, thin, and moves unnaturally fast, vanishing before anyone can react. People who watched the raw footage claim they felt uneasy for hours afterward. Some even reported hearing knocks in their own homes at night after viewing it. Paranormal investigators call this residual attachment, when whatever is captured doesn't just stay in the video, but seems to follow the viewer. Skeptics argue it's coincidence, but the sheer number of reports makes it harder to dismiss. The most chilling part, though, happens near the end of the clip. The camera, left recording by itself, captures a woman sitting upright in bed again. This time her eyes are open, staring directly at the lens. The problem is, her pupils aren't reacting to the light. They look completely black, like endless voids. She tilts her head slightly, almost like she knows she's being watched. The footage cuts out right after, but not before the sound of that same distorted whisper grows louder, filling the room until the screen goes black. The video resumes with a jump cut, and now the room is darker than before. You can barely make out the outline of the woman lying in bed, her movement slower, almost methodical. Then, without warning, her body jerks violently to the side, as if something invisible has yanked her. The blankets twist around her, moving on their own, and at one point, it looks like they're trying to smother her, but she doesn't wake. Her lips twitch, forming shapes that almost look like words, but nothing audible comes out. The cameraman whispers in disbelief, his voice trembling. What the hell is happening? You can hear the fear in his tone, and it's contagious. Then, the temperature drops again. His breath becomes visible in the air as he moves closer to bed. When he touches the sheets, they're icy cold, like they've been in a freezer, but the room itself doesn't feel cold. This isn't just paranormal activity. It's something that defies the laws of physics. Suddenly, the bed starts to rock on its own. Not slowly, like someone is shaking it gently, but violently, as if a hurricane has hit the small bedroom. The woman's body lifts partially off the mattress, her head tilting back unnaturally. At one point, it even looks like her shoulders are floating in the air, while her legs remain pressed to bed. The camera shakes as a man backs away, but he keeps filming, capturing every second of the impossible scene. The next few minutes are a blur of movement and sound. Books slide off shelves, lamps topple over without anyone touching them, and faint scratching noises echo through the room, coming from walls, floors, and ceilings all at once. One moment, it seems like something is under the bed. The next, the shadows stretch across the walls in impossible shapes. Some of the shadows even seem to mimic the movements of a woman, as if they're alive and learning her gestures. Then comes the most disturbing part. The woman sits upright again, her eyes wide open. Her head slowly rotates a full 180 degrees, unnaturally, while her body remains frozen. At the same time, a low, guttural growl emerges from her throat. It's not human, more like something ancient and angry. The sound reverberates through the walls, making the floorboards vibrate. Even the camera seems to shake from the force of it. Just as suddenly as it started, everything stops. The room is silent, the bed is still, and the woman lies motionless again. But the tension is unbearable, and the cameraman's hands are shaking so badly that the recording is jerky. He whispers, "I don't know if I can keep filming this," but curiosity keeps him focused on the lens. A clock on the wall shows exactly 3:17 a.m., and then the shadows begin to stretch again, creeping toward the camera as if aware of its presence. You notice for the first time that the air feels wrong. There's a heaviness, a pressure that seems to press on your chest. The corners of the room darken, even though the lights haven't changed. Something is in the space between what's seen and unseen, and it's watching. Then, a soft tapping begins, not on the bed, not on the walls, but directly on the camera itself. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Pause. Another 3. The cameraman leans closer, trying to capture the source, but the lens fogs up instantly, even though there's no visible human. When the fog clears, the woman's face is closer to the camera than it should be, as if she has moved impossibly fast. Her eyes remain fully black, staring directly into the viewer's soul. She smiles faintly, a chilling, unnatural curve that doesn't reach her eyes. And then the whisperings start again, louder this time, like it's surrounding the room. You can make out fragments of words. "You see me stay," the intensity is almost unbearable, and the video begins to distort, the colors shifting, the edges of the frame bending as if reality itself is warping around her.